Lexus has brought me out to around the Santa Barbara, California area. I'm in this little vineyard area with the all-new 2023 Lexus RX. I'm in the 350h luxury trim. There are several trim levels. There's the base model, premium, premium plus, luxury. You have F-Sport handling, F-Sport performance. We have plug-in hybrids coming later. This is an exciting time if you're a Lexus fan. It's an exciting time if you're an RX fan. But Lexus has done what it needed to do, get the vehicle up to speed when it comes to, in terms of technology. The design is just as good as outgoing model. I don't think they need to do much because the outgoing model, besides the spindle grille, which they've revised it, made it look better in my opinion, that's really all they needed to do to make it a little bit fresher on the outside. But even the 2016 RX still looks pretty good here in 2022. We got all the technology, like I mentioned, the comfort's there. You have a little bit more interior space. Now this luxury model also has a panel roof, so the sun's coming down in here, bringing a lot of light into the cabin. We also have 21-inch wheels. How does that affect the ride? Well, I'm gonna say you might feel it a little bit more in imperfect conditions compared to the last generation. Now this is an all new platform, the K platform, and it's about 200 pounds lighter than the last RX, so that should make it not only perform better, but also have better fuel economy as well. And this truck is all over the place in front of us. I'm going 42 miles per hour with this hybrid system and going slightly downhill. It's in EV mode automatically. Lexus estimates 36 miles per gallon with this 350h, and Lexus is also expecting about 30% of its sales to be from this 350h. And it's all-wheel drive standard. You have electric motor in the back. We have 246 horsepower and 233 pound-feet of torque. So it's down on power versus the old hybrid, which had the V6 hybrid, which was like 308 horsepower. But you got to keep in mind there are two more powertrains that are hybridized that are above this. So you have the 450h Plus that's coming not at launch here in the United States, but it will be coming probably first half would be my guess. It's hard to say. And then that's around 300 horsepower. 0 to 60 is going to be pretty darn fast in that, probably under 6 seconds. It would be my guess around 6 seconds. And you have the 500h that also has a turbocharged engine, 26 miles per gallon or so. And that vehicle is more of the range-topping performance model with bigger brakes, etc. The brake feel in here feels great. It doesn't even feel like a hybrid, very linear, very confidence-inspiring for an RX, which isn't saying much, but it's definitely a step up with the brake feel in this vehicle on the standard hybrid, and of course the 500h, which I'll share those driving impressions later as well. I might have a 500h on my tail here, which it's welcome to pass me. I'm looking for an area to do 0 to 60 on this. Lexus is estimating 0 to 60 in 7.4 seconds on this model, which is right like in line with the front wheel drive and all wheel drive RX 350 turbo model. The V6 is gone, mind you. So I will be driving the 350 model to give you an impression of what that 4-cylinder turbo is like versus maybe what the old V6 is like. So definitely stay tuned for that. Now this luxury model also has a huge head-up display with customizable touch points here on the steering wheel to customize your head-up display, which I definitely need to move. It's sitting way too high for me to even take a look at right now, but the cool thing is I can do that on the fly. Just press a couple buttons here and I can move the display down. Now I can see it perfectly. So you saw how easy that was, just a couple button presses to move the head-up display as opposed to thumbing through here. Here's the sign here for me to follow this loop. I'm gonna throw it in the turn. It's very smooth, I'll just say that. I'm not gonna say it's performance minded, right? This is not even an F-Sport handling model. It's very smooth in the turns. But since I've been doing mostly downhill at this point, I'm averaging 48 miles per gallon. That will change. We have a huge hill in front of us, so this will be a good test to see how well this hybrid system does as I lug this vehicle uphill. This does have a nickel metal hydride battery. At this point in the recording, Lexus couldn't confirm if this also shares the bipolar new technology, the bipolar nickel metal hydride battery with the new 500h. So I don't have that, but let's see how it does with this hill. Just going to try to maintain speed here, going about 48 miles per hour. It did it, and it's actually not very loud. So just to maintain speed, going up a really radical hill there, very quiet and composed. You do have to get into the gas pedal a bit, of course. I like this, light colored bamboo. It's a nice step up. I think it looks a lot better than the outgoing bamboo in the RX. And also there's just so many nice touch points. The dash is softer. It definitely feels a much more premium experience versus the Lexus NX, which doesn't have any wood on any trim that I'm aware of. So yeah, it feels, it looks a lot better in here, with also with this like suede material on the door as well as on the seats here. So we got some twisties, and this will be kind of like an oil refinery here. That's pretty neat. Oh, so smooth. Handled those bumps in the road really well there. Very cloud-like. It definitely feels like I was in the 500H earlier. That felt very stiff in comparison. Still Lexus-like, but this thing floats a lot better. Definitely more luxury-minded. Oh, there's a stop sign there. Didn't see that, and it did it really well. It got a little squirrely, but it stopped it really well. That was a blind turn. you know, going downhill, blind turn, a stop sign, and it did really well to straighten itself out. And yeah, the braking, and I wasn't even all the way into the brake pedal, mind you. I probably was about 50% halfway pressed, and it did a good job stopping like on a dime essentially. Man, it's just beautiful out here with the mountains on the left-hand side of me, and you know, the rolling hills to the right-hand side. And the road noise in here, compared to the 500H, feels a lot less, to be honest. Going over like some dirt and rocks on the road there, I barely felt them or heard them. And the wind noise is very low in here as well. It was low in the 500H, but it, you know, it might even be lower in here because actually I'm in full EV mode, so that helps it be quiet. It's going to be in EV mode way more often than, let's say, the 500H F-Sport Performance model. You know, I did say the Lexus NX. When I drove the 350H, it was my favorite variant of the NX. And just with how smooth this vehicle is, the 350H, I know it doesn't have the most power, but it is a smooth operating vehicle. Right now I'm averaging 49.2 miles per gallon here. This thing is buttery smooth, feels great. I like the softer suspension compared to the 500H. And man, the steering is nice and light, but a little bit more direct than it was in the outgoing model. Every new Lexus going forward has the Lexus driving signature. So this vehicle definitely feels, especially when I went to stop it, it didn't feel like I was diving, like nose diving very hard at all. Let a couple RXs go out in front of me. There's a big dump truck that I didn't want to get stuck behind, so I'm going to turn back around, and we're going to do the 0 to 60 here once we get out of this town. Now, to get into driving modes, it's kind of a pain. There's no driving knob in here, so I have to click sport mode there in order for me to get it into sport mode. And then I actually am behind the steering wheel, which is a fully digital 7-inch MID. I get you know, like a red tachometer. Yes, actually it shows me a real tachometer in here versus like a power gauge or something like that on the normal screen settings. So I'm going to come to a stop here. I don't think you can torque brake Toyota's hybrids. A little bit and go. Actually, I was able to. A little front wheel drive wheel spin. It got to 30 quick from those electric motors. There's 60. So it got to 30 really quick, and I'm surprised I could actually do a torque brake. So 0 to 60 there in 7.85, and that's probably pretty accurate. I would say, you know, Lexus said 7.4, and if I didn't have wheel spin, you know, it'd probably be better. But I would say under 8 seconds, 0 to 60 is probably what you'd be expecting. But this is not the vehicle you buy for performance. This is a vehicle you buy for luxury and efficiency and quietness. And the 350H does. I'm going to take it out of sport mode here now. Button here, there's another RX looking great. We're going to take it, just put it into eco mode. How about that? I do have paddle shifters in here, and that simulates, I believe, up to 8 gears. This is an eCVT, so it doesn't really have like the 500H's 6-speed auto or the 350 with the 8-speed auto. So it's not going to be, I mean, the paddle shifters in here are completely a waste of time in my opinion, because they're not going to like affect regenerative braking in this hybrid or anything like that. We also have a parking assist here. It'll help you parallel park. I'm not a big fan of self-parking systems. I think it's just me personally. I'd rather park my $55,000 vehicle myself instead of let the car do it. And then you also have the 360 camera on here, which is integrated into the new safety features as well, where they call it panoramic view monitor. So these two buttons, or these two systems, kind of go hand in hand together. I don't think you can get the self-parking without the pano camera, for example. It's a nice Grecian Water RX F Sport. That's a 350 F Sport. They look a little bit different than the F Sport performance models, but we got a Jeep Cherokee behind me. So we're going to get into it, pedal down all the way. That's going to kill my MPGs, but got us up to speed about 55 miles an hour up a really, really steep grade. It would be all the performance I would need. Now, everyone's needs are different. Some people are looking for performance, and that's why you have a turbo 4-cylinder. That's why you also have a turbo 4-cylinder hybrid with 366 horsepower. So this vehicle fits me and my driving needs a little bit better than those other vehicles. You also have the plug-in hybrid, which there is one here. It's a Euro spec. I don't know how much driving per time I'll get with it. Hopefully I can get my hands on it today, at least give you a walk around on it. That will not be a launch vehicle, the plug-in hybrid. Also keep in mind that most of the RXs that we get here in America are gonna be built in Canada. We do get some Japanese built ones. That will be the 450H Plus, as well as the 350. The 350 front wheel drive will be built in the Kyushu plant in Japan. So if you want a Japanese built RX, you have to get a front wheel drive model or wait for the plug-in hybrid model at a later date. The rest of them will be built in the Cambridge plant up in Canada. Just going up that hill there, I don't hear the engine hardly at all. It's very, very impressive. Unless you're full tilt, the engine is always in the background, or pretty much just non-existent, to be honest. I'm not going to say it drives like a complete luxury or electric vehicle, but it does drive like the engine's not there 95% of the time unless you hammer the gas. So very, very impressive overall with the refinement of this hybrid system. And it should be refined because this hybrid system isn't all that much different than what we see in the RAV4 hybrid, for example, that's been out since 2019. So now we finally see it in the NX, and it's even more refined here in the RX, and just accelerating at a gentle pace here. I didn't hear the engine at all because I'm hearing cars pass me more than what's going on in the engine bay. So it's a very, very quiet experience here in this RX. But anyways, I'm gonna end it there. What do you think about the new Lexus RX lineup? 4 different powertrains. This one, the 350h, all-wheel drive standard, 246 horsepower, and that's on premium fuel, by the way. And I'm getting 41 miles per gallon roughly here in this model after flooring it a few times, going heavy uphill, putting it through some bad situations, but also coasting at times as well. Being in this luxury grade, it's great to have some new features like this huge touchscreen, which you can get on lower grades, mind you, a pano roof, digital rear view mirror, self-parking. Rest in peace, V6. We will miss you, but the new RX is here to give us more options, more technology, more space, and that's a good thing. I'm gonna end it there. What do you guys think of the new RX? Definitely stay tuned for my RX 350 with the turbo, how that is versus the V6. Stay tuned for my 450h time with that car. I don't know how much I'll get to drive it, like I said, and also the 500h, as I'm sure I'll get plenty of time with that new F Sport performance model for Lexus. Signing out from the wine country around Santa Barbara, California. Take care of yourselves and peace.